Good afternoon and welcome back into my kitchen. So I'm again talking about this digitally fit and fabulous. First of all, and we're here today. We're going to do some fermented um, tomatoes as well as fermented beets. Now a lot of people don't like beets. Love beets. I like them roasted. I like them pickled on my salads. So I thought we try to ferment and see what we come up with. So all I've done is slice the beets. You have to peel them. So this is why I'm wearing gloves, because otherwise your hands are all stained up. So I'm going to go ahead and drop in the beets. Then I'm going to drop in, I got a blood orange when I was out. So I thought we put that in there. And we're just getting the beets in there and then dropping blood orange in there afterwards. See if we can get all of these in there. And I used, these were about, I'd say 3 small beets. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the water on. 3 small beets that I did from the farmer's market. I really wanted to try golden beets, but they didn't have any. So we just went with the regular beets. Just wipe the rim of that off. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna get about a cup of water, because it's nothing more than a salt and water brine that you let set out on your counter to begin the fermentation process. And then as you're going through that process, you can wait like a week and come back and see what you think. You know, is it where you want it to be? So I'm going to put in here about 1.5 tablespoons of Redmond's real salt. And we're going to go ahead and kind of stir that up, get it to going in your water. And this is about a cup of water. Let's see if that's enough or what we need to. Well, geez, Felicia, let me get my funnel, because I feel like I want to just go ahead and pour it all over. So we'll get the funnel in there so we're not pouring water all everywhere but in the darn jar. So we will need a bit more water. So we'll go ahead and get this jar all, because you want the beets to be covered in water. So I'd say that I needed to actually start out with about 2 cups of water. And again, you want them completely covered in the water. Then all we want to do is put our top on, and then as it's setting out on our counter, we'll come back and we'll do the burping of the beets. But right now I'm just going to kind of give it a up, down, make sure the salt is mixed around in there. Okay. And that will sit on my counter, and we'll, come back every day pretty much, and we will burp that so that it doesn't, all the buildup of the buildup of the bubbles. We don't want it to, explode. So we're going to go back and make sure that we're burping it. But anytime you're fermenting, you want to make sure that you're keeping that product directly under the water. Now, you saw when I fermented my apples, I happen to have the fermentation weights. Well, they only work in wide mouth, and these, as you can see, are not wide mouth, so I couldn't use it. So next we're going to do tomatoes. You can do plum tomatoes, big tomatoes, whatever you want. So we're going to go ahead and get our tomatoes in here. I had already washed them and put them back in the container. This may be too big of a jar, but I didn't have any more of my pint jars here that weren't in already use. So I have to get my pint jars again, getting some more, because I've got everything that I have is already canned and I don't have anything open. So with here, we're going to do the same thing. The only difference is with my tomatoes, I am going to put in garlic, and I'm going to put in a bit of dried basil. I didn't have any fresh basil, so I'm going to put in dried basil as well. I'm just going to take my garlic and crush it, because I really want that flavor to get in the tomatoes. I don't just want it to be there and then not infuse the tomatoes. So I put about 4 cloves of garlic in that, and I love garlic, so it's nothing for me to put that much in here. Also, I'm going to get some, let's see, do I want to do basil salt? What am I doing? use some from the garden that I have ground up. So let me get that out of my processor. Smells so good. Okay. And we'll just get a little basil out of here to put in there. There we go. Now we're going to go ahead and do the same process with our water and our salt. I'm going to go ahead and get our salt, Redmond's real salt. I'm going to do about a little bit of tablespoon and a fourth in this particular brine. Mixing it up in the water, just kind of helping it dissolve. Then we're going to do the same process of pouring the brine over the tomatoes, and we want enough to submerge the tomatoes. Okay, got up on still kind of doing the whole, so we want to make sure that salt doesn't stay under there. So let me just get just a pinch bit more to rinse that out. All right, got our tomatoes good and covered. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to get the lid on it. I'm going to put the lid on tight and just kind of, again, let that salt go. Okay, and now my tomatoes are ready to ferment. This will be on my counter for 5 to 7 days, and the beets will be approximately the same time, and then you can begin to check them, see where you're at with them, and see if you like it. So fermented tomatoes on the way, processing, and our fermented beets with the blood orange in there. And I can't wait to see how these turned out. I am super glad and excited that you guys stopped in to see what I was doing. And this is a weekend of fermentation, so glad that you guys stopped in. And we will definitely come back and check to see where our products end up at the end of fermentation, what we come up with, because this is good gut health here for you and stuff. So, you know, sauerkraut, kimchi, all that is good for you. And I mention that quite often. So I'm on the ferment train. And so again, we'll let these ferment, sit on our counter for 5 to 7 days, and then we'll come back and check. And when we do the ultimate check, I will definitely bring you guys along to see what we're tasting and how it turned out, and to see how well it did. And again, you know, yesterday we did the quick pop on of the fermentation of sour cream, which is still in its process and stuff. So we're gonna let that sit and continue to do its thing. And once we're finished, we'll come back in and we'll see. So remember to like, subscribe, and share. And thank you for coming into my kitchen. Again, this is Digitally Fit and Fabulous. How many know there's times coming that we got to put food on our shelves and know how to create meals without having to go to the grocery store. So guys, if you don't already do it, get food, preserve it, make meal packets, put in your freezer so you can have, you know, because you never know what's going to happen. So I'll see you guys next time in my kitchen. Bye.